get this party started. All right. So glad to be back with you. I hope you had a fantastic week since the last time we were together, or a fantastic weekend if you was with us on Thursday. If you're new here, this is Swami Live, where we discuss all things healing in various forms through conversations, energy readings, learning of information, homework, all types of activities. We are on YouTube. You can catch our live show Tuesdays and Thursdays on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Thursday show is pretty much a spinoff of our Tuesday show, which is a book club. The intention of that was to allow us to reconnect with the inner child inside of us by having someone read to us. So, if you're here first time, check us out Thursday too. Be fantastic. Excuse me. So again, it's every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here. We generally always start our show with a chakra cleansing or some sort of, just chakra cleansing. And this week we are on our heart chakra. We're on our heart energy point. We do a little bowl, so we do our bowl breath exercise, and we also do a visualization. So for your heart chakra, if you feel like you need some heart work and you are into color therapy, green is the color for your heart, hence the green tint of the lighting. If you're into light therapy, spend some time in some green lighting. It's very good for you. Excuse me. Your heart is good for your love type of energy. The heart is known to control your compassion, your empathy, your kindness, and your feelings of acceptance. So those approval-seeking behaviors really stem from the heart. Validation, affirmation, all those things are good for the heart. If you are into aromatherapy, you want to think of things like rose, jasmine, geranium, flower scents, ironically. And if you are into stones, you want to think green stones, emerald, jade, green calcite. Some other ones that aren't green is rose quartz, which I love. I got that. You want to think of jade. Jade is good for your skin. It's a bunch of stuff. I have a jade roller that is good for your skin. Okay, so that's that. And we'll start with our little bowl sound. So if you can, find yourself a space where you can relax and just enjoy the sound of the bowl for a second. Okay, so that's that. And we'll start with our little bowl sound. So if you can, find yourself a space where you can relax and just enjoy the sound of the bowl for a second. for our breathing exercise, I think we're going to do 369. We haven't done that in a while. I think that right now might be a good time for that one. So if you don't recall or you're new here, 369 breathing exercise is you breathe in and you hold the breath for a 3 count and release. You breathe in, hold it for a 6 count, release, and you repeat it for a 9 count. But for you, all you have to do is just focus in on your breathing, clearing your thoughts, your energy, and I will keep it simple for you and keep the count. So on the count of 3, family, we begin our breathing exercise. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in for, hold for a count of 3, 2, 3, release. Breathe in, hold for a count of 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, release. Breathe in, hold for a count of 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and release. One more time, family. Breathe in for a count. Breathe in. Hold for 3, 2, 3, and release. Take a deep breath in. Hold for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and release. Breathe in. Hold for 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, release. Last time, family. Breathe in for, hold for 3, 2, 3, release. Breathe in, hold for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, release. Breathe in deep, family. Hold for 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and release. So for our visualization, we'll keep it simple. Just imagine yourself laying somewhere where you can feel the breeze blow gently across your skin. You can be in your bed. You can be in your backyard on a hammock. You can be laying on the sand on the beach, on the grass and flowers of open field. But just imagine yourself laying there, and you can feel the breeze blow across your body. You can feel it, the breeze blow through your eyelashes, across your nose. You feel the breeze gently kiss your lips as it brushes across your chest, your thighs, your knees and toes. And as that breeze blows, I want with every blow that you feel, you take a deep breath in and breathe in love, compassion, empathy, kindness, and acceptance. And you make sure you blow out hate, lack of empathy, fear of not being accepted, and lack of kindness. You feel that energy begin to intertwine and rejuvenate your heart. You feel loving. You feel loved. You feel compassionate. You feel accepted. You feel here, present. You feel human. And as you enjoy the breeze that blows across your body, and you breathe in those love, compassion, empathy, kindness, and acceptance, I want you to repeat these affirmations after me. I love myself and others. I deserve to be loved. I forgive others easily. My heart is fully open, loving, and pure. I follow the voice of my heart. I love myself and others. I deserve to be loved. I forgive others easily. My heart is fully open, loving, and pure. I follow the voice of my heart. All right, family. Whew. We're going to get this party started so we feel a little relaxed in the space that you can enjoy the show and participate, join in, give your opinion on these thoughts and these conversations. If you're feeling even lucky, join the live for a energy reading. It's about time. I need to make a post to invite somebody again to the live for energy reading. I feel like it's been a minute. We haven't had one of those good old energy readings in a minute. Those are always exciting. We get to see what it's like to model confidence and trust and being vulnerable, exposing yourself to strangers. It's just a wild time, good times. I enjoy that. So, all right. I don't know if you were here with us last week, but we were talking about, what were we talking about? Quantum shift. What was last week? Don't even get me tripping. Now I gotta go through my notes. Rewriting the Observer, and I did get off. So we really talked about manifestation, and we began to start talking about our conscious and making our unconscious desires conscious, and how we already kind of mastered the idea of manifestation because we're manifesting our reality every day. And I think it's fantastic, something that we talked about last week that I want to bring up again because it's perfect. We're doing heart energy, and something I kind of want to reiterate is, did you know that the magnetic field of your heart is 50 times larger than the magnetic field of your brain? So if your brain, magnetic power, attraction power, is this size, your heart is 50 times bigger than that. That's more than double. So the circumference, the radius of your magnetic field with your heart is just amazingly large. Then outside of that, it is 5,000 times more powerful than that of your brain. So most of your attraction power, a lot of your attraction power, resides right there in your heart, in your kindness, in your empathy, in your acceptance. And not even just that, not only is it so much stronger attracted, that attraction power will also ensure that the things that you attract have a better chance of staying with you, right? So I guess we also want to make sure that we are clear on the message that we are sending out to the community, to the universe. Clear on our prayers, clear on our questions, so we're not sending those mixed signals, right? We want to make sure we're coming from our heart, our authenticity, in a way that allows us to attract the things and keep the things that we know we deserve, right? So we started talking a little bit. We're still on this conversation about quantum shift, but right now we are moving into this thing called the happiness paradox. So where did this idea of the happiness paradox and why feeling good isn't enough? So I was minding my business the other day, driving and listening to the radio. And for some reason, I happened to be listening to NPR. And they had a woman on there who was talking about the research that she was doing, well, book that she had wrote. And the premise of the book was about this happiness paradox, right? And the happiness paradox essentially says that the more you chase happiness, the less happy you'll be. So literally, it's like chasing happiness, that idea, this preconceived notion of happiness, is what's driving a lot of people crazy, right? It is. They said the harder you chase happiness, the less chance that you're going to be able to get it, right? Which is wild when you think about that. Because so many of us are pursuing this idea of happiness with vigor and conviction. You hear some of these people value their happiness so high with so much conviction. And it's funny because science says those people have a less chance of actually achieving happiness. So I was curious. I was like, that is so curious. Because one of the things that we're trying to do on this healing journey together is achieve some sense of happiness, whatever that means, right? So how does this chasing happiness, something that's so beautiful, something that's so beneficial, or we assume it's so beneficial, cause us to be miserable, right? So one way is chasing this happiness can create a level of mental exhaustion for you, right? And mental exhaustion in ways that it starts with things like emotional masking, right? You ask what emotional masking is. Emotional masking is surface level interactions, not really seeing the true emotions, not even knowing how to express these emotions in a healthy way or in a way that feels authentic and safe to you. Emotional masking, a perfect example of emotional masking would be social media. Most of the time, people put the best things in their life on social media, which will give the perception that everybody is happy. On social media, everybody's rich, everybody's happy, everything is fantastic because of this idea of emotional masking. It shows up in our cultural norms, emotional masking. We socialize children. And it's funny, there's been a lot of conversation around this idea right here. when boys are young, how are they supposed to express themselves? We teach young boys they got to man up. We even call it man up. When it comes time for them to express their emotions, we socialize them into a system of emotional masking, right? We also do this, our women, an injustice in telling them that women are better at emotions. That gives them no motivation to even assess if that is true. Because science has supported this idea that women are better. It is reinforcing the idea that man needs emotionally a mask, right? It's crazy. It creates a sense of cognitive bias. Oh, man. Listen, it's funny because my friend said it today. Like, even she asked me this question: would I be mad if my girlfriend was selling feet pics? And at first, I was like, and I was like, I don't know. This new Anthony see things very different, right? And this is a true statement, a real life story, which is interesting. So in answering this question, I processed. There was a point in my life where if somebody asked me that question, I'd be like, I don't have no problem. She's selling food pics. Let's get this bread, spend it on me, right? But now I see things a little differently. And I understand, even though it may be a simple form of it, it's still essentially sex work, right? And I don't have a problem with that. But that can easily be a slippery slope. If you can find value in selling any part of your body, you can find value in selling all parts of your body, right? So for the brand and the thing we're trying to build here, I probably wouldn't be okay with it. Just because of that. It's a slippery slope. And thinking about that now. Because it's a certain mentality. All of us have feet. But what makes the people different? That sell feet pics. Anyway, it gives you this cognitive bias. Chasing your happiness will give you a cognitive bias in the sense that we judge how common something is by how readily we can pull up memories of that. I seen somewhere when we talked about thoughts and energy, it said that we're really essentially just projecting our memories, right? Which is a wild concept to even think about. So excuse me, I'm trying to get my life together. So the cognitive bias in this sense is that we judge how common something is by how readily we can pull examples up of that, right? So one example of this is we have this idea of cheating, right? And because so many people can readily pull up examples of cheating, we have convinced ourselves as a society that happens way more often than it doesn't. And when you do the math or actually do research, it might be 30%, the highest number, which is a lot. But that still means 70% of the people don't do that. But because we can readily pull up these memories, these thoughts, these ideas, we think it happens all the time. Like when people, cognitive dissonance is a perfect example of that. People can think this idea like all black people steal. Meet black people who don't steal. But because they can readily pull up an example of a time when they know of a black person that stole, or they seen something on TV, they think it happens all the time. They think people just steal all the time. And that's not even the case. As a matter of fact, it was funny. I was talking about that T app, right? And it's a perfect example of this idea of the cognitive bias that we think because we can pull up examples, we can quickly pull up examples, that's a common thing, right? So, according to the news or something, 72,000 women got exposed, right? And they were on there with intentions to expose other women to men that they deem dangerous, right? Now, I say all this to say 72,000 women, those women in that group really think that what they were talking about is a natural, it happens so often, so frequently. But when you even think about the number of women who were in that group versus the number of women who could have been in that group, it's a stark difference. 72,000 women isn't even 1% of women. And that group even had men so concerned there's going to be so many women in there. Like it's going to be so natural. They will pull up examples. There's going to be so many women. And that wasn't even the case. It wasn't even 1% of women. So that means the women that they were, the men that were being exposed in that group also isn't 1% of men. Right? That doesn't say that there aren't more stories out there. There are. That is to say that cognitive bias was at work for men and women. Some men went even as far as to create their own. And all I can think about is something that women say. We can't have nothing. And I agree. Interestingly enough, chasing this happiness, creating a sense of misery, one way it winds up happening is through this idea of emotional contagion. And it was funny because when I was doing my research for the show, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to talk about this part, and I got to this word, and I don't know why. Initially, I couldn't read it. So I changed it to emotional absorption. Absorbing the energy of others, right? But that word contagion paints the picture a little better. So emotional contagion is unconsciously absorbing the energy of those around you, right? That can be literal, physically being around people, or the people you feed yourself visually through scrolling. It creates a pressure on you as the individual to be able to match the happiness that everyone else is portraying. And then if for some reason you cannot match the happiness that everyone else is portraying, it makes you feel a little bit less about yourself and has a tendency to push you into isolation, right? Other ways this emotional absorption affects you is other anger. When people's anger, I've seen people get mad at something and spend the next 6 weeks trying to rally other people to have them mad at the same thing. And I've seen many of times that these people have thought that this isn't even my issue. But because of the emotional absorption, the emotional contagion, they are now feeling the stress, the responsibility, or whatever other emotions come with that, right? And one of the reasons I like this contagion, emotional contagion, is because of this idea of contagion. It is the transmission or the spread of disease. People are passing to us their emotional dis-ease. Because we buy into their lies. We buy into the perceptions that they paint, the perceptions that make you think that they don't have any issues at all. And something is wrong with you because for some reason you can't figure it out. But you can. You just have to see through that and reshape this idea of happiness, right? It has a tendency to deplete your resources. And when we think of this idea of resources, we think just financial resources, but that's just one aspect of the resources. Chasing this happiness, this idea, this elusive idea of happiness. It has a tendency to make you ruminate, overthink. It's depleting your mental resources. Overthinking, ruminating on ideas, thoughts, actions, possibilities that create a sense of self-doubt. You're stuck in this thought process that's going over and over, and now you believe that maybe you can't. It gives you decision fatigue. Because you feel like you're playing emotional catch up. Everyone else seems like they have it together, except you. And it creates emotional exhausting. Managing all these competing emotions, managing all these competing feelings is weighty, spiritually weighty. And it can make you tired in a way that sleep cannot replenish, right? You need to figure out a way to get the emotional weight off of you. It depletes your social resources. It has you acting in a way that is inauthentic to you. Just in an effort to keep up appearances, whatever that appearance may be, right? We always like to think of that as like keeping up the Joneses. But I think about even in my career, there's a certain appearance that I had to be, the appearance of an executive director, a leader, whatever that is. Whatever made up paradigm that is. It's an appearance. It was inauthentic. Ironically, we talked about that on this show. It was one of the reasons I said I cried in my interview for the position that I work now. Because for so long, to be successful in my career, I had to be somebody that wasn't even me. I had to be inauthentic to keep up appearances. Like the microaggressions don't bother you. Like I don't really think I'm smarter than you. And my educational background will prove it. And experiential. It was crazy. It has a tendency to create a level of envy and jealousy in both directions. Well, people can become envious of you and jealous of you, or you can become envious of others and the things that they have that you feel like you too deserve because you have put in the work. Or you've done everything the right way to be able to be in a position to get those things. It depletes you financially, which is obvious. You wind up spending more money trying to keep up with the Joneses, but in a more or less obvious way. Even if you're not trying to keep up with the Joneses, one way that this winds up showing that you are fatigued from chasing this idea of happiness is retail therapy. We have been socialized to think that shopping is a way to heal ourselves, to make us feel better. I should go spend some money. Right. Interestingly enough, it's this idea of lifestyle inflation. The life you live costs more as you try to fill this empty hole, this void, this lack of happiness. Most people chase happiness through material items, which creates this lifestyle inflation. The cost to live your life goes up, period. But unfortunately, happiness has a tendency to go right back to its baseline. Right? It depletes your time and attention. You begin to neglect yourself because you are valuing what other people have or what they say is important, or you're so busy trying to find happiness that you really cannot do for you the things that make you happy. It reduces your mindfulness, the way you consider yourself, the way you prioritize yourself, the way you value yourself, the attention that you give yourself to remind you that you love you. It depletes you of that time and that attention. It depletes your psychological resources. Chasing this elusive idea of happiness can create an erosion of self-worth. As we've talked about before, you begin to question, why haven't you gotten these things? You've put in more work than others. You've done just as much work. Why isn't yours coming? Maybe you don't deserve it. Those thoughts begin to creep in your mind as the chase erodes your self-worth. Ironically, it erodes the happiness that you are actually trying to get. It reduces your motivation. It is funny. This reduced motivation is not that you won't be motivated to think of ways I need to do better, right? It teaches you that some of these ideas are unattainable. Like, it's funny. True story. The example I wrote down was this idea of buying a house. You hear them talking so much about, oh no, you won't be able to buy a house. The house is terrible. This is so bad, blah, 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 so forth, so forth. And especially a lot of people who I see really have this reduced motivation are a lot of college graduates with high student loans. Because of that, they think that this idea is unattainable, so they don't even try, right? I even say that I bought into that idea, right? To the point that I didn't even really think about it. I gave myself other reasons. Like, I mean, all my reasons are valid, but I just didn't think it was something that was attainable. I didn't think it was something that I wanted. Um, any of those things. It just had a reduced motivation to get it because it seemed unattainable. But quietly, I made sure my credit was legit. And then I was like, you know what? Let me check. You been working on your credit? Let's see what happened. I looked. Oh, how wrong we can be. There are systems in place to assist you if only you didn't have that reduced motivation. Believe that these dreams and goals were unattainable. It gives you a learned helplessness. I got a friend who's like this. Outside of his body, addicted to the trauma and chaos of his life. The nervous system, as we talked about, becomes addicted. It confuses the familiar with safe. But a learned helplessness in what you think that even with a little bit of work, it won't help. You think that these things, these challenges, these roadblocks, these trials and tribulations that come towards you, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just a part of life, a learned helplessness. People will tell you, oh no, you supposed to struggle in this life. Freedom and goodness comes after your death. We preach this. We socialize our children into this idea of hopelessness, helplessness. There's nothing you can do. That's essentially what this happiness paradox is and what it creates by chasing happiness is creating the misery you want to avoid. So if you want to literally do some, it's an amazing topic to learn about. So do some of your own research and learn a little bit more about this idea of the happiness paradox. It was so interesting because it's counterintuitive. You think energy you put in, you get an equal and opposite refund. That's not how it always works. I guess maybe you do get equal and opposite, but it's just not conducive. It's negative, right? So to tie into this, also with our quantum shift, we're gonna watch a little bit of the video. Yeah, and the video is gonna discuss a little bit about why feeling good is not enough. Feeling good is not enough. Ideas, the things I want you to really think about or start paying attention to is this idea of emotional fluency and what that means. I want you to kind of pay attention to how there's a difference between regulate your emotions and suppress your emotions. And are you confusing the two? Pay attention to this idea that ties into the happiness paradox with even with your quantum shift. The people who try the hardest get the most resistance because that trying projects to the universe a sense of lack. I want you to remember as we go into this as well, which is this idea is going to come up, your thoughts are the blueprints that leave imprints onto your reality. And the question you want to ask yourself is, how do I become the version of me that no longer doubts that I deserve all of this? All right, that's clutch. The video is probably about 5-10 minutes. You know how we do. Put my headphones on. Let me find out. I might talk bad about my soul family. They ain't been showing me no love. They've been leaving me hanging. Let me see where we at. Do 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 do. Is it recording? See. Video capture. See. All right, family. Do 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 do. Switcheroo. Switcherooski. Oh, we're gonna start.
And neither does the field. You've been told to think positive, to stay high vibe, to only focus on the good so that you don't attract the bad. And while the intention behind this advice might be pure, the execution is deeply flawed. Because manifestation isn't about pretending. It's not about bypassing what's real inside you to project some artificial state of happiness. The quantum field doesn't respond to your forced smiles. It responds to your frequency. And frequency isn't about fake light. It's about authentic alignment. This obsession with always feeling good creates a pressure that disconnects you from yourself. It teaches you that fear is dangerous, that sadness is a sign you're doing something wrong, that doubt will cancel your desires. And so what do? You suppress it. You push it down. You try to bury your emotions under a mountain of affirmations and gratitude lists, hoping it'll be enough to tip the scales. But here's the truth. What you resist persists. What you avoid...
Suppression. Suppression.
You amplify. Because energy doesn't disappear. It just gets trapped. And trapped energy still broadcasts. When you try to manifest from a place of spiritual performance, you send a mixed signal. On the surface, you're saying all the right things, but underneath, your nervous system is vibrating with tension.
Questioning your ability to regulate versus suppression.
Your subconscious is looping fear, and your heart is closed off in protection mode. The field picks up on that contradiction, not because it's judging you, but because it's reading you fully. And what it reads is confusion. Emotional fluency, not avoidance, is the real key. The ability to feel your fear without becoming it, to witness your sadness without drowning in it, to honor your anger without letting it take the wheel. This is not weakness, it's mastery. Because when you can sit with your emotions and still choose alignment, you become powerful. You stop leaking energy trying to avoid discomfort, and instead, you start moving through it. That movement is coherence, and coherence is clarity. And clarity is what the quantum field responds to. So no, you don't have to be high vibe all the time to manifest. You have to be honest. You have to be present. You have to be able to regulate.
Which is funny, because we spend so much time talking about vibes and high vibrational, but you don't have to be vibrational all the time, high vibrational. What you have to be is present, and you have to be able to regulate.
Not suppress your emotional state. That means recognizing when your energy wobbles and gently bringing it back into alignment. It means breathing when the panic rises, soothing when the doubt creeps in, reconnecting when you feel scattered. This isn't about faking it until you make it. It's about feeling it until you free it. There's a reason the field responds so quickly when you're aligned. Because
I like that. It ain't about faking it till you make it. It's about feeling it till you free it. And that's cold. That's a cold line.
at that moment, there's no resistance, no split between what you want and what you believe, no pretending, just coherence. Your being is speaking one language, and the field mirrors it back like a perfectly tuned echo. That's what people mistake for magic. That's what they call miracles. But it's not magic. It's precision. The real block to manifestation isn't negativity. It's a disconnection. When you abandon yourself emotionally in pursuit of an imagined perfection, you fragment your energy.
That's that idea of appearances. When you abandon your true self in pursuit of an image, that fragments your energy.
You create inner conflict, and that conflict scrambles the signal. But when you welcome your full range, light and shadow, joy and fear, you become whole again. And wholeness is magnetic. The field isn't asking for your perfection. It's asking for your presence.
Wholeness is magnetic. Give that 5,000 times more powerful heart an opportunity. It ain't asking for your perfection. It needs your presence. Be here in the moment.
Your truth, your integrity. That's what turns intention into impact. So the next time you catch yourself forcing positivity, pause. Ask yourself, what am I afraid to feel right now? What part of me have I judged as wrong? And then invite that part into the light, not to fix it, but to include it. Because nothing blocks your signal more than self-rejection, and nothing clears it faster than radical self-acceptance. You don't need to fake good vibes. You need to become the version of you that feels safe being fully real.
Excuse me.
Control feels safe. That's why we cling to it. We micromanage.
All right. What was that doing? That thing was tough. I look forward to figuring out how control keeps us this false sense of safety and security and all those good things. Second. Doo-doo-doo. Get my life together. Take these off. So, I really did. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I really did like that. It really puts things in perspective. I wrote it down for myself as a note. It is not asking for your perfection. It's asking for your presence. And presence is one of those ideas that we all got to work on. It's hard to, especially if you call yourself a forward thinker. Sometimes you can put yourself so far in the future or so far tomorrow that you forget that the gift is right now, the presence. Most of your tomorrow is established right now because at some point today was your tomorrow. So I love that. Not perfection, but your presence. I think for us that'll be a good thing to roll out on. Let me see. I like the idea of emotional fluency in the sense that it really ties into that idea of presence, right? A lot of times we've suppressed emotions because of the way they make us feel, or we've been socialized into believing that we're not supposed to have those emotions, that we don't even function authentically to ourselves to actually feel the emotions that we feel. We don't have that fluency. We use suppression as the tool. So, and that suppression as our main tool only leaves us with fear to actually feel these emotions. We've held them down so long we don't even know what they feel like. It's like I like that the fear without becoming it, or witness the sadness without drowning in it. And it's funny. Well, it's not funny. It's the synchronicity of life. Over this weekend, that is one of the things that I took a little time to spend some time with my emotions, right? And it was ironic because, just trying to think about myself, and I got some goals and some direction I'm trying to move in and trying to move naturally, and I could see the growth happening in some areas, but in some areas it was like a puttering car, or trying to turn your car over and it won't just gas. You done flooded the carburetor. And it was funny. So I didn't know what it was. And one of the Soul family asked me this question. We were having a conversation about relationships and why people can't connect or anything like that. And, I'm so smart, so I can tell everybody what's wrong with them, but I don't always know what's wrong with me. So it's funny. The Soul family was like, well, then what's your issue? And it's crazy because I told them, I'm good. I don't got no issues. And the funny thing about that is I still believe that. As it relates to relationships, now there are areas I can grow, of course. But when it relates to partner pair bonding, this is the best I've ever been. I've done a lot of work on that. I'm picking smarter. I'm valuing myself differently. I'm looking at the dating prospects very differently. I'm proud of the work I've done. So I felt good. So I answered that question with a level of confidence that I believe in. I vibrate, I embody those words. I firmly believe that, right? But for some reason, the question still stuck with me. And it kept hitting me. And so when I spent some time just trying to figure out my emotions, doing my emotional workout, my emotional push-ups, trying to figure out why is this question sticking with me? And is there something going on that I don't realize, right? So in doing that, it allowed me to spend a little time in my hurt, right? And it's not funny because, but residing in that pain of hurt is a place that I really don't like to be, right? That is one of the emotions I try to run from. Oh my God, I do my best. I do almost anything to try to avoid hurt or pain, right? And after we've done all this work as individuals to heal ourselves, hurt and pain looks a little different because we've let go a lot of hurt and pain. And that doesn't mean hurt and pain will no longer exist in this world. It just means it takes on a new shape. And we have to pause and take some time to figure out what that new shape looks like to you. So when I took that time, I recognized that my issue at this point doesn't reside in pair bonding and relationships. I'm communicating. The confidence that I feel about that is good. I'm out there. I'm even using that Platinum Plus again, right? And I had stopped doing that. But I recognize it resides in family. We're open and authentic and we're vulnerable here. And I've talked to you all about the disconnect that's going on in my family at this point. And the thing that I didn't know is that I carry emotions from that. I generally be like, it's going to be all right. But there is a sense of hurt that looks very differently than how I've hurt before. There's a level of guilt and responsibility that's residing in me that I never felt in that way before. I ain't even recognized that that's what it was. I can just see I'm acting different, something different. And then the best part about that moment was after I brought the emotions up, after I acknowledged and figured out what words describe the emotions, I was able to move beyond that and move into a new space. I got hungry, made some food, did some play some games, just did some other things. And practicing that activity of experiencing your emotions, spending time in your emotions, acknowledging your emotions, and then letting go of those emotions to move on is the emotional push-ups that we all need to do. That's the practice that we need to do. And that practice will create the emotional fluency, the consistency in a message that allows us to receive all that we're supposed to receive. So family, I appreciate your time. It's been a fantastic one as always. I hope to see you here Thursday as we continue reading Makes Me Want to Holler. And if you can't make it Thursday, I hope to see you back here next Tuesday with Soul Swami Live as we continue discussing healing. And probably a little bit more on the quantum shift. I'm blending things now. You don't even know. I'm just wilding out blending things. So we might watch another. I do want to understand. I do want to see how control, our ideas and thoughts on control, affect or how they interact with the other dynamics of this healing process or this quantum shift or this energetic embodiment that we're trying to work on, right? So again, family, I appreciate you for your time. I appreciate you for your support. I'll see you Thursday.